Sōsuke Aizen spent the 1,000-year blood war locked in a chair underground. No Zanpakutō, no reiatsu, no army. And somehow he was the most dangerous man in the entire war. Welcome back to the Dark Archives. Tonight we are opening the file nobody wants to open because the answer inside makes every Shinigami in the Soul Society look like a pawn. Here is the mainstream read of Aizen during the Blood War. The Gotei 13 locked him away in the Muken, the deepest, most inescapable prison beneath the Soul Society. And when Yhwach showed up and started burning everything down, Central 46 finally came crawling back. They needed him. They released him. He fought Yhwach. He lost. Ichigo finished the job. Aizen went back to his chair. This is the clean version, the version they want you to accept, but the Dark Archives already know. Perfection is always a lie, and a clean story usually means someone worked very hard to hide the bloodstains. Let us go back to the moment Aizen was in prison, not to watch his loss, but to ask a question nobody asked. When you put a man, the most intelligent man in anime history, in a room with nothing but silence and time, what do you think he is doing in there? Aizen did not spend 100 years in a cell suffering. He spent 100 years watching. He watched Yhwach army invade from a prison. He watched the Gotei 13 get dismantled, their Bankai stolen, the captains humiliated. He watched Ichigo run to the royal palace to get rebuilt from scratch. He tracked every single move on the board that only he could see. This is not a man who was removed from the game. This is a man who chose his seat at the table. And the seat just happened to be underground in chains, where nobody was watching him think. Here's the first piece of evidence the Dark Archives have been waiting to show you. During the first invasion, Yhwach's Sternritter stole Bankais. Not some Bankais, almost all of them. Soy phones, Byakuya's. The Quincy's had medallions that could rip a Bankai right off the captain's soul mid-battle. They stole from everyone except Aizen. You know why? Because Aizen has never released his Bankai in front of another living soul. Not once. In the entire series, the man who mastered perfect hypnosis made sure that the most powerful weapon he owns has never been seen or measured by anyone. You cannot steal what you cannot find. While every captain in the Gotei 13 had their greatest weapon stripped away, Aizen sat in the Muken with his steel intact, untouched, untraced, because he planned for this decades before Yhwach even made his move. This is not a imprisonment, this is a vault. Let us recap. What the archives really want you to see so far is Aizen was not a prisoner waiting to be useful. He was the only player in the Blood War who arrived with his greatest weapon still loaded, because he was the only one who understood that the war had already started long before the first invasion even began. Now let us talk about this. What was his cooperation actually was. When the Central 46 released Aizen, the official story is that he agreed to cooperate against Yhwach. The Soul Society framed it as a desperate alliance, Aizen helping the people who chained him and a villain who became a hero, but no. Look at what Aizen actually said when they came to release him. He did not beg, he did not negotiate. He walked out the Muken the same way he walked into Horeiko Mundo, with total certainty, because he was not agreeing to their terms. He was collecting on the investment. Think about what Aizen understands better than any Shinigami alive. The Hogyoku. He fused with it. He studied Soul King level power from the inside. He is the only being in the Soul Society who generally understands what the Almighty is, and critically, how it can be broken. Yhwach could not steal Aizen's Bankai because Aizen never showed it. But more than that, Aizen Kyoka Suigetsu, a complete hypnosis that bends all senses, is the only ability in Bleach that does not require a fight to be lethal. It rewrites what reality is for the person experiencing it, against an enemy who controls the future. The only winning move is to make him unable to see it. Aizen did not help the Soul Society by showing up at the exact moment his specific toolkit became the only thing that could create an opening. That is not cooperation. That is a contract, and he has set the terms himself. And then we go to the moment the Dark Archives have been building towards all night, after Uryu fires the antithesis arrow, the one that temporarily suppresses the Almighty. There is a window, a small window, specific moment where Yhwach cannot see the future. He cannot rewrite outcomes, he cannot absorb or reflect. In that window, Aizen activates Kyoka Suigetsu, and it works. He traps Yhwach in a complete hypnosis. The man who has seen every possible future cannot see past what Aizen is showing him. For a few critical seconds, Yhwach is blind. Ichigo lands the final blow in that window. Without Aizen creating that moment of blindness, there is no ending. Yhwach simply rewrites it. Every future where Ichigo wins get absorbed and erased. Aizen looks at Yhwach during that moment and says something that most people gloss over. He says, "I am the only one who can stand here. Not, I am the strongest. Not, I can't not help." He says, "I am the only one," because it is true. No Bankai was ever categorized in this. Kyoka Suigetsu was never measured, and Aizen spent however long it took, decades, 100 years, a lifetime, making sure that this moment came. He would be the irreplaceable piece. He was not a prisoner released to fight a war, he was an asset waiting for the exact moment his value became undeniable. History is written by the writers, but Aizen never needed to write history. He just needed to make sure that without him, there was no history to write. But I have one question for the Dark Archives tonight. If Aizen was running this play the entire time, what else is he plotting for right now? Because the Hell arc is coming and his sentence was never canceled. But hey, that's a disclassified for another night. Bankai.